Hi there, and welcome to Reflections with Rhonda Jones and my posse, my girl posse. If you're new to us, and if you're new to watching Vaughn TV or a show on Vaughn TV, we want to welcome you. Also, to our faithful YouTube viewers, welcome. And those of you that will be looking at this in archive fashion, we understand that you get busy sometimes around this time of day, and so we don't mind. But let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I'm Rhonda Jones, and to my right,
Monica Livingston.
Kimberly Johnson.
Ruthie Wyvern.
all right, this is us, people. Our show is sort of I guess, a potpourri, and sometimes it's a poopery because, it might get a little, it might fall flat sometimes, but we do our best. We try to bring up encouraging things, but sometimes we talk about things that are a little less than, uplifting. But sometimes those things have to be brought out. Today we are going to talk about something very uplifting right from the get-go, and it's what a lot of America is talking about, and it's the Bruce Jenner interview on Friday night on 2020 with Diane Sawyer. And I think they said it was 17 million viewers for the show, and it really just set a Twitter record. Twitter was just going crazy. And I don't know, my husband and I, we watched it together. I think my mother-in-law was there too. She's not really versed in some of those discussion topics, but all in all, I think she did pretty good with it. But I thought it was fantastic. I enjoyed every minute of it. Wish it would have been longer. I have a lot more questions. But who am I to, have to question him? I have no right. And what really has aggravated me, even before we knew what exactly was going on with Bruce, watching the paparazzi, stalk him and hound him and, call out questions like, are you transitioning? Are you this? Or, do you have on nail polish today? My heart broke for him having to endure those things like that, even before he actually came out and said that he feels more like a woman. And he, to me, put it very eloquently, talking about his soul was female and maybe his body parts are, not maybe, but they're male, but his soul was female. And so he calls himself Bruce at times, and he says her, and he hasn't given a name, or he doesn't even want feminine pronouns to be used as of yet. He's still transitioning, and so it's a new thing for him as far as how people are reacting to him. But he has such courage, and I admire him greatly. And I just want to get the take on some of the ladies that have seen the interview and see what you think. What are some of the things that really popped out in this interview for you, Monica?
Well, right off the bat, they started the interview and she mentioned how a lot of people were saying that there was a possibility that this was a stunt put on by him and the Kardashians for ratings and stuff for their Kardashian show that they have. And I find that really hard to swallow that would be something they would do, because he had his children from previous marriages and stuff there that he had told, and to go through all of that just for ratings. Those children are not part of this show. They are not part of this, part of his life that involves this TV show. So to go through all of that and then to go through an interview and be asked questions and the stuff that's not already been shown on the TV put out there and answer questions, I find it hard to believe that would have been something they would do for ratings. But then again, I don't know. But, I thought that it does take a lot of courage, he answered a lot of, never been with a man. People, he was able to talk about, what he felt like in his past and what drove him to do certain things. And, I think that it was a tough thing to do. I think it was a good thing that he finally did it. There was a lot of controversy on whether it would help the transgender community or not. But I think that for every person that does step forward and says, hey, I'm different and it's okay, I think that it has to help in some way.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. That's what I was hoping for more than anything. Not only to set his mind or soul at rest, but also to help those, because there is a problem in our country. I think the statistic was, most people know a gay or lesbian person, but only, and I could have gotten this wrong, maybe only 8% of the population know a transgendered person. And so it's something new, and it's something new for us too, because we may not have a friend that's transgendered or even know if they are or are not. There are a lot of politically correct things that you have to go through to really help them, because you don't want to use the wrong pronouns. You don't want to, guess at things. And I was reading something about how you can help a transgender person. Basically, is to ask. Now, to me, that would get a little dicey too, because if the person is, definitely female, and say I go up to her and I say, are you, should I refer to you as, I'm sorry, I'm laughing, it's not funny, but I can see myself doing something crazy, like, are you, should I refer to you with a male pronoun, and then she was like, what are you talking about? I'm female. I can see myself putting my foot in my big mouth, so, let's move on to Ruthie. Ruthie, you watched the interview. What is something that really stuck out, for you?
One was the courage that he must have for this, and another was, how do we know how anybody thinks, how they feel, what's going through their minds? How do we help somebody when we don't know what they're thinking? How do we help to give them the courage to do what they need to do when we don't know that they're in this spot? That's the thing that really got to me. You can't just keep your mouth shut when you're with somebody. You have to carry on conversation, or you're rude. And how do I know that we're just talking and I don't say something that would hurt this person if I don't know that they're having this problem? That's what really bothers me, is that inadvertently we can hurt somebody because we don't know that they're going through this. And a lot of people don't say anything about it for years and years. And how do you encourage people to be themselves, and not worry about all of the fallout that they're going to have, like he has? I know he worried about his children and stuff, and he talked to them individually and stuff before he went public with it. And that's something else that I think is really amazing, that that he did this, and then he let people know that's the way he did it, and that would help another mother or father that's having to do this. So it just I've done a lot of thinking since I saw that program. So
Good. I mean, I think that's one of the things that the program should have done for us, is to raise our awareness, raise our emotions about how to deal with people that are in this position. And like you said, Ruthie, we may come across people every day and just say something flippant, and it would hurt them, and it might even make them digress in their journey towards something that they think is positive, and we've said something stupid or not even meaning to.
Right.
And so we have to be educated too on how to deal with people going through this transition.
right.
Kimberly, what are some of your thoughts on this?
Well, I didn't see the interview, but just from what I've heard, I have heard that Bruce Jenner can be calculating, and publicity stunt may not be outside of the realm of possibility, but for whatever reason, I think that it's a very positive step for other transgender people to be able to come out themselves and to say, I'm going through the same thing. And like Sister Ruth said, to make other people think, how am I treating people, and should I be a little bit more aware of what's going on?
And in my thoughts is if it was a publicity stunt and it comes out sometime later, how cruel would that be? And I think that he would be causing a lot of shame on himself, and yes, there are celebrities that might do that, but I mean also on his family, to sit there and to make light of somebody else's plight in life or their situation in life and use that, So that's
Right.
why I really hesitate away from thinking that it was any kind of publicity stunt.
Right, and I'm not saying that he's not transgender, but that maybe he's using that to gain publicity, and
Yeah.
I don't know, but I have heard people say that he can be calculating and trying to garnish attention through different things.
Possibly.
Well, yeah. For one thing, he said that as a little boy, he felt these things. And a lot of times that's exactly when you start finding these things out, is when you're smaller, of course. And he would wear his sister's dress every now and then. He would put it on, and then when he'd look in the mirror, that's when everything felt right with the world. And, I would tend to think that the other side of the family would be more the publicity hounds than Bruce. I'm not saying he doesn't have that coursing through his veins at all, but
Well, whether that's his motivation or not is not relevant to that. It is a good step forward, in my opinion.
absolutely, absolutely. And he was concerned too about, the suicides. He said, "I am not a spokesperson for the transgender community," and I thought that was good because he didn't just, come out and make his own self king. He
Right.
knew that this is something that everybody has their own journey, and there are other people that have been going through this possibly longer and have more of a handle on it, and they can be the spokesperson. And he's not using his fame to usurp them and say, now that I'm going to be transgender, I'm going to be the spokesperson. But he was very careful to say, I'm not, but I do want to make sure that, the suicide rate is decreased, and, the jobless rate, unemployment is terrible. And actually, to get a home or lodging, people do not want to rent or sell to transgender people. And we don't even have, I believe, laws that protect this segment of our American population. We've come a long way, and we do have protection for the most part now for the gay and lesbian homosexual community, but we have got to put things in place for the transgender people because they are a forgotten part of the equation of the American population.
I think some powerful things that were stated in the interview was the kind of misconception that, cross-dressing, there are people that cross-dress just because they may like the feel of the fabric or the way it looks on them or what have you, but it doesn't mean that they are transgender. That's a separate, issue, that people that are transgendered, feel they were born in the wrong body. They don't just put on the outfit to wear the outfit because they like the way they look in the outfit. It's the whole, how they feel inside, outside. They feel like they were just born with the wrong parts. Some of them have the self-loathing and, just because they hate how, they're classified because of their genitalia. And also another misconception that he kind of made a point to talk about in the thing is that so many people assume that because you're transgender that you're homosexual or, lesbian, if you're a woman and you're a man, you transition to a woman and you've been with women. He's one of the things that was said is that it's not about who you go to bed with, it's who you go to bed as. So,
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of, I don't know if it was him that said it or he said it because it was quoted from somebody else. But, I thought that those are issues that some people may not really understand about what transgender is. So.
Really, that is true because, for instance, if I went home today and I went in my bedroom and saw my husband dressed up in one of my dresses and my pair of my pumps, I would be alarmed because it's not something that I'm used to him doing on a regular basis. No, just kidding. It's not something I'm used to him doing, and so I would have a lot of questions, and it would be hard. It would be hard on me, and that's not even being transgendered. This is just wanting to dress up in women's clothing. And it seemed like Bruce said that he and Chris might still be together if she would have accepted, his transition more. Didn't you think that?
Possibly, and he did make a statement in there that he had told each of the wives that he'd been married to at a particular time. It wasn't right off the bat when they were dating, of course, and it wasn't right after they got married. It was a period of time after they were married that he felt comfortable enough to tell them, but it still seemed like the way that he brought it up to him was kind of downplaying it. And I think that possibly had to do, and some people might really fault him because he didn't just come out and say, it's not just the fact that I like to wear women's clothes, but I actually feel like I should be in them because I feel like I should be in a woman's body. I feel like I'm transgender. I think he was still maybe trying to fix himself, or trying to find a way that, this, I can't be like this because of my kids and because of the women that I have in my life. And, but he did tell them to some degree, hey, I wear women's clothes, but in downplaying it, maybe they felt, lied to or something. I don't know, because he did mention that one time Chris had seen him wear the women's clothes, and she's like, okay, all right, you're gonna go change now. And so, that downplaying it probably didn't work as well, maybe, and I don't know. I can't say, that he might or might not find someone that'd be okay with it,
Sure. I mean, maybe some women would be okay, and that's fine. That's, and then you could always say, like, well, if you love each other, then, you should be okay. Well, I really don't agree with that. You can love the person, but, I cannot deal with that. And it's just, in a way, it's unfair to you both, because there was something going on that you didn't tell me about. You did, I think, well, love, it's powerful, but it doesn't, make you feel good about seeing your husband in, lingerie. That's something that's a separate issue than love. And don't you think, Kaylee?
Well, well, especially if he knew before when he was dating these
That's
women,
right.
then it's not a matter of, well, you loved me, but now you don't. It's you weren't honest with who you were.
Right.
And you can't say you love someone if you really don't understand them. And if he didn't give them a chance to understand who he was ahead of time, I don't see that he has any reason to complain after the fact.
Right. Right. I agree.
And
But-
I think all of them have come out and said that they support who he is, and they appreciate that, they kept his secret because, it was his to tell. And even recently, in the interview, it said that they reached out to Kris Jenner, but several other sources have said that they didn't reach out to her. And I saw the little snippet of the interview with Kim Kardashian that said that, we were waiting to comment to let him be first, let him have his day and make it known how, and to reveal this, and then we'll make our comments. So,
Yeah.
and I think that maybe that's the right thing to do. And if they felt that was the right thing to do, then that's for them. I mean, we can all sit here and second guess and say, oh, well, you should have been supportive ahead of time, or,
What do you think, Ruthie?
Well, love also has honesty in it. And if you love somebody, you're going to be honest with them. You're not going to hide part of yourself and then ask them to marry you without revealing that part of yourself. I think honesty is as much a part of love as forgiveness and honor and acceptance and all of that. Now, if he found out later,
Right.
that would be different. But if you know and you're dating someone before you decide to marry him, you need to let them know if you have a problem, so that they can help you with it, or they can say, I couldn't handle that, and get out before,
Right.
Of course, like I say, I have no idea how he felt, what he thought, so I'm not judging because I don't know. I don't know what I would do in that spot, but it's a hard life. I mean, that's just all there is to it.
It is. It is. and there's just been a rash of suicides with these younger children, kids, 15, 16. And that was really what puzzles me, because I think, and I may be just as dumb as a rock, but I think the younger generation would be more accepting and understanding and open to it. And it seems like every time a young kid commits suicide, it's because they were rejected at school, or even their parents too. But, I didn't have a place at school, I didn't fit in or whatever. And so I'm really surprised that the younger generation is not open to something new and something that's very real. I don't know, I'm surprised.
Well, I think sometimes it has to do with, kids can be cruel. Let's just put it that way. My son likes to wear his hair long. If any of you saw the place this morning, you saw his friendly, cute little face there with his grandpa doing the show. But he likes to wear his hair long. That's his choice. I allow him to do it. He doesn't like to wear it long and put bows in it. He doesn't like bows. But if he did, that would be his choice, and we'd deal with it as it came up. But often, because he wears his hair long, from time to time you'll hear kids say, "Are you a girl, or do you want to be a girl because you have long hair?" And he tells them, "No, I'm a boy." But kids will pick on kids for reasons. And then, of course, when you have parents in the home who are very opinionated and who look at anybody that's different from them as, it's bad, it's wrong, abomination, whatever the terms they want to use, and the kids pick up on this. And, I think that it just kind of snowballs sometimes from there. But kids in themselves, do like to give each other a hard time, do like to pick on one another and be cruel. So.
Well, that brings me up to another point in the interview. I noticed that they brought out a scripture in Deuteronomy saying that, I'm going to paraphrase it, but, if a woman dresses like a man or a man dresses like a woman, that's an abomination. And so Bruce actually considered that as he was going in the 80s, as he was going through hormone therapy, and before he met Chris, I believe that, he took that into consideration because he is a man of faith. He believes in God and possibly most of the scriptures. And when he came to that verse, or it was brought out, it really took him aback, because he said, "I don't want to be an abomination." And so that's one of the most horrible things to me you can call somebody is an abomination.
Didn't he say that gave him cause to not do it for a while and to stop?
Yep, absolutely. So, that halted the process. And possibly if that could have been one little, straw that broke the camel's back, and he could have continued his transition and maybe never even met Chris, or, was interested in pursuing a relationship. And it's because of an outdated, Old Testament verse calling people an abomination that, have, a female soul but male genitalia. And, it seemed like recently I read, like as of this morning, that his second wife, she was the one that was Elvis's girlfriend. I mean, she had going on. Did you see her? Mm-hmm. She was looking good. Now, not so much. She has a lot of plastic surgery. Sorry, but when she was younger, I mean, she was like HOT hot. But Bruce married her, and it seemed like she was, she knew about it, but it caused some problems, and he wanted to go away, I think maybe to the Netherlands or somewhere. And back then, I think the Dutch were doing these actual operations where you would do a surgical reassignment. And so he was going to go away, have everything changed, and come back as Aunt Heather. So, and introduce himself to his children as Aunt Heather, and not be, the dad or anything. But he does maintain that he's going to be called Dad. I'm your dad. But he did tell his older children that, when I was in your life, involved in your life, the things that I was trying to teach you, that was coming from her. And
As well as the dad
That's
you
right.
physically saw.
That's right. And he used her as a pronoun to say that was his feminine side, you know, trying to give you information and raise you. And so I just wish the family all the best. And I know I hope the photogs just do not, you know, run him like a pack of wolves and you know, say horrible things to them. That should totally be against the law. That's horrible.
Well, as you know, or some people may know, there was a wreck a couple weeks after the interview, or a short time after the interview, of course, before it aired, but after it was filmed, in which there was a car accident, and he ended up hitting one car. The driver of that car was killed, and I think one other person might have been killed, but I know there was at least one fatality. And it's still under investigation because it's believed that he was trying to get away from paparazzi. And, you know, we know that was a big factor in the Princess Diana, you know, wreck that took her life. So, you know, it's sad, but, you know, I mean, this is something that people that are in the celebrity light, you know, and the famous people have to deal with. And you know, all that when he's already going through this emotional, you know, thing that he has to deal with in his life, to have to know that, you know, a wreck that you were in took somebody's life, you know. I'm sure whether they find him at fault or not, he'll bear some,
Right.
you know, heartache there and pain from having to have went through that.
I just hate to say this, but he showed Diane a dress that he was going to wear. Diane was coming back over for dinner, and Bruce was going to present himself as her when Diane came for dinner, and he showed the dress that he was going to wear. I just don't think he's going to make a good-looking woman. Not that every woman has to be good-looking, but it's just, I'm just thinking, Ruth, what do you think?
Everybody has their own opinion, and some women are more beautiful than others. So, you know, that's the way I look at it. But I like a statement that he made, that he said sometimes he thinks God's up there and we're down here on this earth. He puts us down here, and then he says everybody has to go through a trial. What are we going to give him to see how he handles it? And I thought, you know, that's a good way of looking at trials that come into our lives. You know, God knows it's coming, but he's watching us to see how we're going to handle it. And I like that he has that kind of an attitude, and not, you know, saying, well, you know, if God wouldn't do something like this or whatever, or, you know, to me, that's a more positive way of looking at it, and I really appreciated that thought. So, whether it's truth or not, you know, it's a good thought.
It's a good point of view. It really is. One thing that was, I think Diane was really surprised, is that he claimed, or I think he identified himself as Republican. And so, I mean, how is that going to work? Because sad to say, as Republicans, they aren't always the most accepting group of people. Usually they are a lot of the religious right and fundamentalist type people.
Yeah.
And they're not on the bandwagon with this LGBTQ, you know, community. And here you have probably, I'm assuming, a giver to, you know, politically motivated Republicans. And so what's going to happen now? I thought that was
I think
interesting.
they'll still take his money.
Oh, I believe they will. Kind of like the old Oral Roberts, and the guy went from the dog track, and the Lord said to go ahead and take it.
That doesn't mean they'll
gosh.
support him, but I'm sure they'll take his money.
They'll take his money. But, you know, Bruce was like, of course, yeah, I'm a Republican. Like, that was like the biggest shock of the night.
Yeah, when she was asking him about Obama actually being the first president to say the word transgender. And he said, yeah, I applaud that he did that, but, you know, for the most part, I'm a Republican, conservative Republican. She's
Yeah.
like, what? They're not going to like that. You know, but you say that.
Yeah, probably not a lot of conservative transgender Republicans, but
At least not out in the open.
that's right. There is now probably quite a few of them in Congress, or they may just be the cross-dressers, I'm not sure. Don't have any way of knowing, and that's your business, what you do behind closed doors. Okay, we want to wrap this conversation up and move on to something else. Any last words from any of you ladies? No? I applaud all of his family, his children, for all giving him a shout out on social media. I thought that was great. And I was surprised. I'll just say this. I do watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians every now and then. It's not something that I watch all the time, but I do like Khloe. She's like the youngest girl of the Kardashians. And it just always seems like she's more, I don't know, open-minded or heartfelt, kind, considerate, whatever. And when he said that she had the hardest time with it, I was very surprised. I was very, very surprised.
What surprised me more was the fact that Kim, what she said, one of the reasons she came around was her husband, Kanye, and the statements he made. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't usually sit with what we hear and see in the media about Kanye West.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. I can't remember exactly. Can
yeah,
you?
I can't remember.
But
the
it was
exact
something
quotes.
like, I can be a father, I can be the best father, the best husband, the best this and that. But if I can't be who I am, truthfully, then I'm nothing. And so it was something like that.
Yeah.
But not quite. And I thought that's very good,
Yeah.
Kanye, and it really made Bruce feel good. Okay, anybody else have anything last minute, something to say about this subject? Anyway, I was glad I watched it. Okay, Monica, what do you have for us this morning?
Well, I
this
had a
afternoon?
couple quick things, but one thing that both Kimberly and I had seen this week was about a young man who asked one of his gay friends, best friends, to prom. He is a straight teen, and he decided that he wanted to do something for his name is Jacob, and he wanted to invite his friend Anthony. And he held up a banner that says, "I'm hella gay, you're hella gay, I'm hella straight, but you're like my brother, so be my date." And invited him to go to prom with him.
What's hella gay? What's that mean?
That's a term. I don't know all the lingo, but hella means like, you're really, I guess, gay, I'm really straight, or I don't know if really is what it is. Y'all can text in and tell us what it means, us clueless people to the lingo. But anyways, he told him, what he said is that the guy that got asked, he said, I'm always on the student council and planning the proms and never asked to the prom.
Oh.
And here, the friend of his made his dream of being able to go to the prom come true. So he's secure enough in who he is and doesn't care what everybody else is going to say, obviously, that he's a straight guy taking, a gay guy to prom. He's my friend, we're going. So that's kind of courageous there too, I think.
Yeah, well, good for him. I think there was a time that they didn't even allow same-sex couples at the prom. They would not even, acknowledge that they could take someone that they were attracted to, or
Right.
boyfriend or girlfriend, to the
And
prom.
there's probably still schools that don't, I'm imagining.
Sad but true. Probably true.
Well, that's a good story, good human
Yeah, I thought it was.
kindness story.
One thing concerning the prom stuff nowadays, what I thought was really interesting is that you don't just go up and say, hey, Becky, would you like to go to prom with me? That's unheard of these days. It has to be like this big to-do. It's called a promposal.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's almost like the big, all-out wedding proposals that women get. There's like the big banners, or putting it, out there in a video, or just different ways that they're doing it. But it's kind of almost expected now, from what I hear. I don't know, it just seems strange that you go to all that expense. Some people are going to expense. And one I heard about that was an epic fail of a prom proposal was the guy, I think it was in Washington. He took paper tubes, strapped them to his body, and had wires going out from it and around it. And he said, "I'm kind of the bomb. Be my date," or something. He got expelled. He didn't get to go to the prom.
Oh my gosh.
She said yes, but the school said no.
Yeah.
You should have thought that one through a little bit better. Just a little bit longer.
Yeah. The B-O-M-B is not a word you want to throw around.
Don't go out in public and scream fire in a crowded building, or don't go into a bank and say robbery.
Don't go on an airplane and say bomb
Yeah.
or box cutter. Just, it's not going to work.
But yeah, so that's the latest fashion or, trendy thing to do is if you're going to ask somebody to prom, make it a promposal.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about that?
I don't know. What about you ladies? What do y'all think?
I don't know. I was homeschooled, so my prom was me putting on a pretty dress and Rick and I dancing in the living room. So,
Aw.
Oh, that's
and
romantic.
I didn't have to have a promposal. It was great, like it was.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes that simple
Yeah.
thing is the best thing. What about you, Ruthie?
I don't know if they had a prom or not. I wasn't invited, and I don't know if there was a prom. I just know I went and got my diploma, and it was at where the new high school is now. I couldn't find it if I had to, but all that was there was the bleachers, and but that's where the class of '52 got their diplomas, and of course my last name starts with W, so I was next to the end.
I was gonna
There
say,
were just
you're at the end.
a few behind me. And before the 450 got through, it started to sprinkle a little bit, and I almost got wet, but I got my diploma.
Oh, my goodness.
But like I say, I don't know if they had a prom or not. I wasn't social in those days. I was very shy, so.
okay.
Well, I never went to the prom. I made it to in ninth grade to a homecoming dance. That was the very first dance of my high school career, and a guy asked me to the homecoming dance, no problem. And I mean, I'm telling you, I was straight laced, and so when we got there, I thought it was going to be, we were going to, I don't know, have punch and take a picture and pretend that we were dancing or something. And then next thing you know, he was like, "Hey, you want to go outside and look at the bowl?" And Escambia High School has a bowl. It dips down, in the ground, and that's where they play football. And I'm like, I've seen the bowl before. I'm not. I don't want to see. Oh, okay. Wheels started clicking, and so after that, I was never keen on any type of. I'm good. Yeah. What about you, Momo?
I went to prom, but
Did you ever go look at any bowls?
nope.
Mo? How many proms did you go to?
I went to my junior prom I went to a junior prom with a senior, and then I went to my senior prom. So, years ago.
You were sort of like the party animal back then.
Well, maybe a little. That's for another show.
That's a whole nother show.
All righty. On to another subject.
Moving on to another subject. Well, I guess it is or was prom time. I think it's this time of year.
Yeah, we actually saw last night. We had went out and about, and we were at the mall, and while we were there, this girl walks by in this gorgeous dress. It looked like it could have been something kind of inspired by the movie Frozen. It was like an aqua kind of blue-green on the bottom, and then the top was just like a real thick lace with like sequins down the sleeves, and of course it wasn't sheer through here or anything, but on the sleeves, and it had a kind of lower back. It was just really pretty, and my son was just sitting there staring, and why are they all dressed up? And then he said he was watching this little boy that was walking around. There was no parents by him, but they were sitting down. But they had walked up to the Dippin' Dots thing at the mall, and we're getting some Dippin' Dots, and Rachel goes, "Why are they dressed up like that?" I was like, "My guess would be prom." So, yeah, but really pretty, cute couple.
Wow. Oh, young love.
Yeah.
moving on. So what else, Mo? You've got one more rabbit in that hat.
Well, I wanted to get the video out, but I don't think that I got it to the guys. But it was a really cute story. It is a little puppy dog that every week, and I'll try to put it on our Facebook page, gets dropped off at a
Oh, yeah.
shelter. Not a shelter, sorry.
Nursing home?
A nursing home. And while the dog is at the nursing home, the dog runs around and visits all the people in their rooms, will lay with them. Basically, it looks like spends most of the day there, and the residents just love it, that this little dog goes there, gets dropped off, and visits with them. And, some of the people otherwise wouldn't have any visitors. So I thought that was really, really, really a cute story. And I don't know how it got started. I think I'd like to try to find out some more about it, but I'll put it on Reflections later today on the Reflections Facebook page.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. I went to visit my cousin who had hip replacement, and I saw on the schedule it says pet therapy, and I thought that's really cool. I guess that's how it goes. They bring in, animals that can behave themselves, and
Right.
it lifts the spirits. You ladies ever heard of that?
Yes, and even here at our local library, they have dogs that kids can come and read to because the dog doesn't judge them, if they mess a word up and the kids feel more relaxed. So they have, I don't know if you'd say therapy dogs, but they have reading dogs that they'll bring to the library, and you can just sit down and read a book to a dog, and that's really neat.
That is cool. Ruthie, you ever read a book to a dog?
No, I haven't, but I think it's a good thing for young children when they're learning to read, because that dog's not going to look at them like they did something wrong, or it's not going to say that's not the right word or whatever. They're going to let them just read. And if they stumble over a word, that's okay, And where most of the time adults are not that understanding.
That's true.
And even if they feel like that they need to correct the child, they don't always do it in a non-judgmental attitude, and that makes it harder for children to learn. And I think all children need to learn to read and to love reading, because they'll get a lot more knowledge in their life if they do.
That is a fact. That is a fact.
Well, something that I came across this week and I thought was kind of interesting, a lot of us probably know to some degree, especially women. I don't know for men, but the color of your urine can tell a lot about your health.
Oh my God.
Sorry. No, but I thought that is interesting. You know that if it's just clear and it's always clear and there's never a color to it, you might be drinking too much water, and can be dangerous for you. It's supposed to be like a pale straw color or a transparent yellow.
Do you have
It
any
starts
samples?
No, I didn't.
I didn't know.
Urine
No.
samples, you crazy woman. A dark yellow might indicate that you need to start drinking a little bit of water.
Like if your urine is the color of this
Go
keyboard,
see a doctor.
you need to go see a doctor. Stat.
If it's an amber type color or colored like honey, you're not getting enough water.
Like this tea right here.
If it's syrupy or brown, you could have a liver disease or severe
crap.
dehydration. So you need to make sure you see a doctor if it persists. If it's pinkish to reddish, don't panic. It could be something you've eaten. But it also could be an indication of, urinary tract or some type of infections. And I didn't know this. I don't guess I've ever seen my urine be blue or green or purple, but actually says there's no such thing as purple. But the blue or green colors. And so, I'm going to put that on our Facebook page
Hold
too,
up.
because you never know. Some of these things you might want to check out and make sure that you're.
What's blue and green mean? Like you've been swimming in the Gulf, or?
No, it usually has to do with food dye, something you ate, or a medication that you're taking. But of course, if any of the ones that aren't considered to be in the normal range persist over a period of time, you'd probably want to mention it to your doctor and get checked out.
What about if it stinks real bad?
Well, the color, I mean, the odor of it can tell you something too, but
Have you ever gone in behind somebody and, you know, I had a friend, and I would go, and then, it was like just strong. I think they're just not drinking enough water, probably.
yeah.
Have you ever heard the saying about eating asparagus? I'm not going to go the whole story with the asparagus, but that it makes your TT stink.
I think I have heard that before.
All right, well, people, we want you to be all checked out on your urine. We're not going to talk about moon time because
Oh,
that's
that
too
was a good compromise.
that's too offensive. But we are going to talk about the color of your urine, and it's no laughing matter because urine is definitely it's vital to our lives. I mean, it's a reason for it. And it's really sad when a baby gets really dehydrated and they cry and there are no tears or they can't pee and it's really bad. So if you have older family members too, you need to kind of check on them. Check that out, especially if you have like an older father or grandfather and they have trouble going. The commercial, it's not a going problem, it's a growing problem. And so they could have prostate problems. So today, the next time you go pee, look at it, smell it, don't taste it, but look at it and smell it, and then you can kind of get a little checkup on how you're doing.
But don't panic, just kind of watch it over a little bit of time. Of course, we don't want to send anybody into panic. They go home and their
Right.
urine is red or
Yeah,
blue
or
and green.
tea colored or something, but
Don't panic.
don't panic. Even though I would suggest you start making preparations for for you to do something about it because I mean that's important. I will say one time I went to the doctor and my urine was so white. He was very concerned. He said, "You drink a lot of water." I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "You drink too much water. You're flushing away such vital things."
Yeah.
And so that's as bad almost as, having it so dark. And so,
And it could be cloudy and different things, and there's different reasons for that too. And
what is
and
that? What's the reason for
I
it to
don't
be
have it on
cloudy?
this article. I had it on the other one I saved, but like if it's cloudy or something, I think sometimes it can be something to do with like the bile ducts and different things. And so,
Wow.
you know,
All right.
I'm going to try to find the original article and post it to our Facebook page. For
It's
some
something-
reason,
Yeah, something simple to look for and
Right.
to notice. The reason I said don't taste it because my husband's always on to me, like, I'll look at something and I'm like, I don't know what that is. Hold on. And he's like, what are you doing? Like if we'll be walking and then there's a berry. He said, I've never seen that kind of berry on a tree. I said, just a minute. Oh, that's nasty. You don't do that. That's true, but I just have I'll tell you what it is. Just a minute. No, that's just honey or that's. So I was telling myself that you don't do that.
okay.
Boy, you have to be honest, and then honesty sometimes cuts down on viewership. But I'm going to be honest, Ruthie. Let's talk about urine output. Do you have any advice?
Well, all of your body functions have to do with the state of your health, and I read an article in the newspaper saying, look at your poop. So
Next week we're
Yes.
talking about poop.
I don't remember. I think I cut it out, so I'll look and see if I can find it
Yes.
and bring it
Yes.
for a show. But
Okay.
and some of the others is the way your feet and legs when you're walking, how they look, because it could be something wrong with your back or with your hip or something and you're not having any pain, but it could be a problem. I've even been told you can look at your fingernails and it
yeah.
will help you determine that you have something that might go wrong, or that's in the process and you need to have it checked. And I'm sure there's an article on your hair, but I know not a lot of your holistic doctors use that type of stuff for checking you out to see, what problems you might be occurring inside your body. So,
Well, I'll tell you what, Ruthie, you bring that article on poop, and next week we'll certainly talk about that. Is that a deal?
I'll look and see if I can find it. I'm not even sure I kept it, but I think I did, because I keep a lot of stuff like that that I think might be interesting. I just have to remember where I put it, so.
And Rhonda, just like with me, since I failed on it, you can bring samples.
Well, it would take me about a month to get up enough samples because I'm not an everydayer, so. I'm already done for the
I'm
week.
sorry, y'all.
Sorry, peeps. Okay, I know. Wow, what's up? Ruth, I've got your promise. You're going to bring the poop article if you can find it, right?
Correct.
Okay. Kimberly, what kind of article are you going to bring next week?
I don't know if she brings poop. I can bring composting toilets. How about that?
Sounds great. Next week, it's all about poop, composting toilets, how to go to the bathroom in the woods when you're camping.
That's a good one.
We got navigator leaders here, and we've got Girl Scout leaders here. They should be able to tell you. And we will answer the age-old question.
Kind of leaves to wipe with and what kind of
That's
leaves
right.
to wipe with.
And when a bear messes in the woods, doesn't stink if you're not
Right.
there. All right. Well, I tell you what, Ruth, tell everybody we'll see them next week.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And the title
Hi.
is How to in the Woods.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a book.
That's cool.